Good evening, folks. To use quite an old phrase, we have to replace our scheduled program, unfortunately. For those of you who may not know, that there is a subtle hint on the screen. Regrettably, yesterday, or Sunday to be precise, we lost sci-fi and genre icon David Warner, who passed away at the age of 80. So rather than doing an unplugged going insane, we are going to be doing a tribute to the great Mr. Warner. I suspect with the sort of people we normally get in our streams, we're not necessarily likely to have to introduce him. I'm backed up by a massive panel of, I think talent's the word I'm looking for. I'm not certain.
Oh, how kind of you.
Mr. AWK, PJ maybe from our Scottish representative, our Viking representative Jim the Viking, and apparently, I must admit, I thought I knew all about the Romans, but apparently somehow the Empire actually made it across the pond because Roman of the Empire is actually in some strange foreign province.
Indeed, I am.
California.
And we're really jealous as representative of the Vikings. We're really jealous of the loot he has presented behind him.
Yes. Well, we know you guys definitely got that. I just didn't know the Romans had, but then again. Well,
my loot's going to have to be all reorganized. Well, it's going to take me ages.
Okay, so my one question here is, if I'm live, why the hell am I not seeing any comments in StreamYard?
Well, I'm looking at.
I'm not seeing any either. So unless we've got
That's unprivate. It's Colin.
Hold on a minute. It's what? Why is it?
Let's see. Hold on.
I'm keeping a
there
tab
we
on
go.
the
There we
live
go.
chat.
Right, that's it. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Hi.
Backlog of 25.
Yeah, high tech there.
Yeah, guys, this is not the first time we're doing a live stream.
No.
Trust us.
You know us. Basically, we are so professional. We actually make Nerdrotic look as if he's in time all the time.
Yeah. I've got an opening to show you, but I've inserted a certain clip, for David. So here goes the opening. If anyone, well, here we go.
How many lights do you see there? You see 4 lights? No. There are 5. You're quite sure? There are 4 lights.
How many lights did you see?
Sorry, it was unplugged. I didn't see any.
Ah.
Yeah, sorry, we don't have electricity here in London.
I see 4 lights.
That's funny. That's one of the last roles that I actually remember seeing him in.
Unfortunately, picture of that
most
guy
recent
down there.
one that I've seen him in, believe it or not, was Tron.
Oh, really?
Oh dear, PJ, we know you're a grandfather and all, but come on, that is being old.
Well, I got the box set quite recently of Tron, and I rewatched it. That was the most recent thing I've seen him in. Obviously, seen him in the Star Trek, the 3 different movies he was in, as a human, as a Klingon, and as
Oh, I got some
gold.
notes, but you're already starting to like obliterate them, and I was going like, okay, Wen would definitely pick this, Alex would definitely pick these, you PJ, you would put these, Colin, you would definitely go for these. It's like, okay, I'm trying to find the middle ground here where I can actually add something where the rest of you will not go for. And I'm sorry, Roman, but we just recently started to know you, so I'm not 100% certain of where your filmography background comes from.
Well, I can tell you the first thing that I saw David Warner in, and and we're all of, well, PJ is got a biscuit older than I am, but the movie Time After Time, in which he played Jack the Ripper, was my first introduction to David Warner.
I remember that one. I remember that one. God,
And
that's
John,
a long time ago.
he played H.G. Wells' friend John Stevenson back in the day, who was also Jack the Ripper. He hijacks the time machine, and they move into modern times.
70s, isn't it? It moves into.
It's the 1970s, I could pull up the exact date, but that movie was so good. Even I think it even stands up pretty well today, despite a lot of the fashion stuff and some of the phraseology of the 70s. The story itself works very well.
Right.
One, because the writing is good. You're basing it on, very loosely, on a time machine story, but you're basing it on the historical character of H.G. Wells, and then introducing the other historical character of Jack the Ripper.
In that one, do you know the best line, I think, from that movie is when Jack turns around and says, "I fit here. Look
Yes.
around you."
Exactly.
What was seen as bad then is normal now, as in people killing each other.
Now, he very much felt that was his time. He had come home, and he brought, I mean, this is a movie that could have gone goofy really fast based on just the story elements alone, but they did such a nice job with it, and David Warner brought such gravity, and he did this with all of his roles, not just with Jack the Ripper, which is a heavy character anyway, but he brought such a gravity to the characters that he was playing. He was, I mean, and he's playing against Malcolm McDowell, who was another very big personality.
Yep.
And man, they just ate up the screen, and it was beautiful. And that's a movie that if you haven't seen, it's definitely worth watching. Or even the dog wants to see it, or rewatching.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I hadn't even thought about that movie, but yeah, I remember it. God, that was a wee while ago. I remember the very first time I remember seeing him, I suppose, stand out was the Time Bandits.
Yes, as evil.
The evil genius. Basically, it was just superb. And I'd obviously seen Time After Time, but it was just one of those things. Just the fact that he actually played, which was quite a silly movie. You had Sean Connery in it and stuff like that. You had quite a lot of big names in it, and he sort of just stole the show as evil. It's basically, even in a goofy TV movie. Well, I know it wasn't a TV movie, but when I watched it, it felt like a TV movie because it was goofy. It just felt like a TV movie. It's something that you wouldn't see big stars in, but look at the people who were in it.
Oh, it was an incredible cast.
It had an incredible craft, but just the goofiness of it, it was just something out there. And I remember him in it, and that was one of the first ones I remember him from. And
I do have clips. I don't know how we feel about sharing them, because I don't know worried about the copyright dark angel that's watching over us.
That's fine.
Oh, as long as we don't go near the baby fucking sea.
Yeah.
Now these are actually clips from YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, copyrights after like the first 5 minutes tend to not happen unless there is like someone upset with our opinion.
Yeah. It's only usually in pre-recorded videos because you're uploading it in the
I don't know if the sound is going to come over. I hope it does. I'm sorry if it doesn't.
I know that's the worst part of it, isn't it?
Yes,
Roman,
yes,
do you want
yes.
me to
Come on.
sort out the clip, Sawyer?
Wouldn't it be
Little
sad
Wagner,
if
sorry.
we got copyright striked for a commercial?
Well, Alex had a copyright strike for viewing something which has already been uploaded on YouTube.
No, that was Colin.
Was it Colin?
Yeah.
He viewed something which has already been uploaded on YouTube and he got a copyright strike for it.
Most of the bloody clips I put up there are actually edited from another YouTube thing. It's what annoys me.
Yeah.
Roman, do you want me to sort out the clip, Sawyer? If that's fine, if you're having a connection problem.
It's no, you can't hear it, and
It probably
it's
is.
jumpy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just kill it. Sorry, that's the problem when I try to show clips. It's my own private hell.
Don't worry, Roman, I'll take over for you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I gave it a go.
I do the same moment. I have to switch my VPN off and shut all my other apps. It's just one of those things that
Oops, now I
happens.
can't get it to go off. Stop screen. There we go.
Here we go. Okay, so you want to bring up the Omen first?
No, sorry, I'm not going to sing.
Oh, we're starting with
go
the
ahead, it's
heavyweight
fine.
already, are we?
But the thing is, no matter where you start, you've got any genre you want.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you know what I mean? He's been in comedies, he's been in sci-fi, he's been in dramas, he's been in horrors.
No, he has a very impressive resume. I mean, he's got a lot of things on the list that I haven't heard, but he's got a ton of things that I have heard of and are iconic. Not just I've heard of it; they're iconic roles.
Yeah, even he's
this is the one. This was one of the clips that I wanted to bring up.
Let me know
He's
when you want to
Death
play it.
Yeah. I was just gonna comment. If you look at these really iconic, long-serving thespians, I believe they're called, they have so many credits to the name. I believe David Warner is about 225 plus credits.
I was the one that found him.
Yeah, well, he's also produced, but acting, he's 228 acting credits. So he has right up until 2020.
How can you
His
know that?
program that started in what, 1970?
62 is when he came into
Rejoined the Navy. Is that your movie? Roman. Yo, I remember in the Z cars that far back.
I will.
I remember Z cars.
Do 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 do
The repeated Z cars in the 70s. That's when I watched it.
Yep.
Here we
There we
go.
go.
That's right, the slice.
Now that's a death scene.
Now this is as hardcore as what that scary stuff. Final Destination. Death will always come for you.
Or is it Death will always comfort you? Are you sure? Oh no, that's a different stream.
Well, and this was the 1970s as well, so it's that was a pretty advanced death scene for its time period.
Yeah.
It is definitely brutal for the 70s because we didn't get to see a lot of that growing up. today there's like CGI, blood bags, and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, this is at least almost a decade before they started doing like Arnold Schwarzenegger's head replicas, where he was holding it in his hand in what's that Martian film? Total Recall.
Total Recall.
Yeah, yeah. Or is that this is almost a decade before that?
Yeah.
I know Alex isn't going to get this one, which will probably tell him what it's from. But 5 points to the audience if anyone knows what that one's from, and an extra 5 points an extra 5 points if the audience
Sorry.
can give us the character name as well. There you go. I'll let you on that one, Pete.
Oops. Sorry.
That's okay.
I think I know that one.
Go on, then. I'm not getting
Aldous.
Aldous Gadget, but yes.
Oh, that's right. It's basically
Yeah, you just killed one of my talking points.
Oh, why? That's all right. That can lead us into the Holy Grail, and we can go all over the place from there.
Yeah, I mean that's an amazing show, and something I put down on my notes is the unlucky character, coincidentally named Jinxo.
Yes,
is an amazing supporting character to him.
Yeah, that's right.
I think you've got the wrong nickname.
Never going to leave Babylon 5 because when he left Babylon 4, that happened. Look what happened when he left Babylon 5. He'll do whatever he has to stay. Jigsaw.
I think you should call it. I think
that was a great
you've got the wrong nickname. Your nickname should be Lucky.
Yeah, the only character that tops that is Sartas.
Zathras is great.
Sartas is my favorite sci-fi character throughout everything. I don't care about Spider-Man, Hulk, Marvel, DC, Babylon 5, Star Trek, Star Wars.
But the difference is Zathras is the one, but he's not the one.
He is not the one.
But yeah,
1962.
Yep, we joined the Navy. Z cars are all that way back.
Yeah.
Tom Jones.
Oh, was Z cars actually
unusual.
63? That's
Yeah,
I thought that was a lot later.
It was quite a long-running show, I think, and then you had
Z cars ran for a good number of years. Yeah, it ran for years.
Well, there's a Z Cars connection to Doctor Who. You remember that? Well, in the episode,
the very first episode. I know it sounds silly, but the very first episode, the very first person to ever appear in Doctor Who was a policeman.
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah,
there's another link to Z Cars because it was a policeman.
Yeah, but specifically, they did in the novelization of the Chase. There's a bit where they go through a lot of police officers.
Yeah,
but all the police officers' names are the names of the actors that played coppers in and of the rank in Z Cars.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I do have a connection. I'm hoping you guys will not kill it for me, but I think mine is just so random enough that you will not pick up on it.
Henry VI, Wars of the Roses. Well, that's two kings he's played for starters in there. Henry VI and Edward VII. And at least one other one he played. Oh, he was in Straw Dogs, blimey.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember.
He was uncredited in it. Look, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, because in Straw Dogs, I think he was playing like a mentally ill person or something, and I think he accidentally killed one of the women in it, and they all accused him, and it was like they were trying to hunt him down. And and his name's gone out of my head. It was like protecting him.
Yep. Well, that's a character you wouldn't get played these days. Reinhard Heydrich.
Yeah.
Time after time.
I mean, with 200 plus credits, even if they were uncredited, that is still an amazing career. And he did get to live to 80.
Yeah.
I'm still looking at it, it's like 80. That is a long way to go.
And you came
Well,
down
it's
to
less
you.
long than it used to be.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually approaching it that fast. I'm worried I'm going to keep going.
I actually had a discussion earlier today with a colleague, recently become a father. So congratulations to him. I won't name drop his name or dox him or whatever. But I just told him that as an adult, your time dilation, so to speak, is vastly different from someone that is like 8 months old. You have 35 plus years experience of what an hour is. They have less than 2 years. For them, an hour is an eternity.
For
Yep.
me, an hour's an eternity. If I'm sitting actually not doing anything, it goes on forever.
Yeah,
know,
but you're
before
right.
Your earlier point, Jim. 1962 to 1978, 799 episodes of Zcast.
Did you see that earlier on? Go back down a bit.
Which one?
'Cause- keep going down. I think it was the 70s. Right, stop there. Let's see. Yep, stop there. Where is it? No, up a wee bit. It was after
It was
Tron.
definitely
It was
busy at the
was-
end of the 70s and the start of
it was
the
above
80s.
Tron. It was a movie I never even expected him to be in. The Man with Two Brains.
Oh, Steve Martin.
Yeah,
That-
and
wasn't
Steve
it?
Martin. I remember that movie, and I
Yeah.
can't remember him in it. Was he the psychologist?
Dr. Alfred Necessity.
Because I can't
The
remember him in that.
Ruffruder, or whatever he was called. Dr. Ruffruder. I
It was
can't pronounce it to this date.
For Huffnuffer.
He was Dr. Necessity, apparently.
Yeah,
He was a
But-
creature in a Frankenstein movie. Bloody hell.
he was the creature in the
Yeah,
Frankenstein.
that's
movie.
right. Yeah, the creature here was. I remember him farting Company of Wolves.
Bob Cratchit in A Christmas Carol.
And then he was
A
also
lot of
in
TV movies.
a more obscure piece, which not everybody will have seen, Into the Mouth of Madness.
I don't recognise the name.
Too
of that one.
obscure?
I saw it on his list earlier on, but I'm not.
I would
I'm
need
not
to know what the
familiar
movie
with
was.
I might have caught that one on Turner.
It was a John Carpenter movie, and oh gosh, the fellow from the early Jurassic Parks, Sam Neill's in
Neill.
it. And he plays. They're looking for this author who's kind of like a Stephen King type guy, but the things that he's been writing about are starting to come true, and the world's basically it's a bat crap crazy movie. But David Warner plays Dr. Wren, who's the psychiatrist who's looking over the Sam Neill character when he's now in the bin. But it's a nutty movie.
Yep.
There you go.
It is.
Briscoe
Straight
County,
above Babylon
Virginia.
5.
Winston
Whoa. We're getting all over the place, and I will claim priority here because if you scroll down a little bit, we actually have David Warner in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Yes.
2,
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Secret of the Ooze, with the giant, very fake plants. You can definitely take that these are like prop plants. But his acting in this is it's so lovable, and considering the fact that you have these ninja stunt actors in heavy costumes, very heavy costumes, and they're trying to act their best, and he just so lines in that he's actually standing out. He lowers the way of acting that he can do, but he comes out on top as like he's the standout actor performance for me in that film, and I'm someone that loves Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, there's two I love. He was in Briscoe County Jr. He was also in
Of
Dinosaurs.
course, the man with the chin.
Dinosaurs. He played a voice in Dinosaurs. You remember that one? I think it was Disney's Dinosaurs.
I love the Dinosaurs
love
TV series. I love the Dinosaurs TV series.
Yeah.
Well, and he had
Prince Valiant series in the 90s.
Well, and he had such a distinctive voice, which you didn't need to see him to know it was him. And he did back in, when the Batman the Animated Series was on, he was Ra's al Ghul, who is one of my favorite villain characters. And David Warner's voice just so good.
He played Jor-El in the New Adventures of Superman.
Yep.
And that's actually right. I remember that. That was the Terry Hatcher, and one, wasn't it? The New Adventures of Superman.
No, that was cartoon.
No, that was New Adventures.
The cartoon.
I'm just gonna drop this because I need to go AFK to collect the delivery. But our beloved Mr. Warner here was twice in Titanic.
Yes.
SOS Titanic, which was, I believe, like Turner film straight to like broadcasting, not cinema. But he was also in James Cameron's Titanic as not Sipper Lovejoy, something like that. He was Lovejoy, the cop that was hired by the rich douchebag.
Yes.
By another actor that I really like, Billy. And they just play off each other so well. You can tell that these guys are not up to anything really nice. They just want to control everything. I would say that is the closest I've ever seen in modern years that comes close to what Peter Jackson managed to deliver with. Oh, come on. The names are Frodo and Sam. in terms of that, but Frodo and Sam are good and healthy, whereas Lovejoy and Billy's name escapes me, but they were toxic. They were.
I forgot that.
It's our way or no way.
Yeah.
Well,
So he played Ra's al Ghul in both the Superman the animated series and Batman the animated series.
He was the bad guy in Baldur's Gate 2. I remember that.
Yeah, but he played Ra's al Ghul in both the Batman and the Superman animated series.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine they actually linked them.
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff in those. You didn't always have the same voice actors, but when you did, it was good, and he was as Ra's al Ghul was brilliant.
God, I'm still only up to 2004.
Yeah, he went out up to 2020, so he did. He was still acting in 2020, even if it was.
That's interesting. I wonder if that's
Sapphire and Steel podcast series.
I'm wondering if that's the Big Finish ones.
I think it is.
Yes, because it's Susanna Harker, Lisa. Yes, it's the Big Finish ones, which we were talking about on the Rabbi stream earlier on this evening.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just done so much. And you look at some of the iconic ones that we all know and love, like, for instance, Time Bandits, Tron, Star Trek, multiple times, different characters, Babylon 5.
Oh, there we go. There's another one.
The Hogfather.
Lord Downey.
He played the Lord Downey, that's right. Because he was the one with Mr. Tia-Timey.
Yeah.
He played Lord Downey, remember, kept... he
Tia-Timey.
Tia-Timey.
Death got it right,
yes, and he goes, he's Tia-Timey. And it basically, he was the Lord Downey who hired, basically gave him the contract. I forgot about that. Aye, Christ.
Yeah.
Doctor Who. There you go.
Yep.
Now, I'm unfamiliar with him being in Doctor Who. Did I miss? That was on the regular series then, right? Yeah, it must have been.
It was the newest one. So you're talking.
Give me a minute, and I'll
War.
bring up the big
Cold
finish
War
page,
was-
and that's going to be even
I think
longer.
Cold War was the one with the Ice Warrior. That was the one in
Yeah.
the submarine.
Yeah.
It was on the submarine.
Oh, the submarine episode. Okay.
Was he played? It was in that.
Got it.
That was Cold War, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I've only
that's
ever
Cold War,
seen them all once, so I can't remember. I'm just.
Teen Titans going 2020 was okay, right. In that case, let's do
Mary
the honors.
Poppins Returns. Oh my god. He played Admiral Boom as well. I remember Admiral Boom from the Mary Poppins. I could imagine him playing Admiral Boom on his
Anyway.
rooftop with his cannon. The wind's coming about, mister.
Shall we bring up another clip?
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Time Bandits.
Oh,
Right, Colin's just finding. Can anyone hear the audio?
nope.
Okay. Oh. Thanks.
Okay,
No, why not? Here we go.
Order of my being with the desire to do wrong. I feel so bad. That's good. Good. Yes, it is good. For this is the worst kind of badness that I'm feeling. Kill me, Master. Kill me. Not now, Benson. We have work to do. No lesser work than the overthrowing of creation itself. We will remake man in our image, not his. We will turn mountains into sea, skies into rivers, fjords into deserts, the deserts into
Boys insane. We can't go in there. Basic.
Fire into a mighty rushing wind which will cover the face of the earth and wipe clean the scourge of woolly thinking once and for all. We can make beans into peas. Oh, Benson. Dear Benson, you are so mercifully free of the ravages of contempt. There's some nice things, but... Yes, I know, I'm sorry. Now, Benson. I shall have to turn you into a dog for a while. Thank you, Master. Stay, Benson. Guard the man. Robert, we must plan a new world together. This time we'll start it properly. Tell me about computers.
Nope. Hello.
Oh shit! Sorry, I didn't realise that was gonna. Sorry, I didn't realise that was gonna. Sorry, mate. I didn't realise that was gonna override the one you've done. I was just setting that one up.
Congratulations, technical. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, technical difficulties again.
It's a learning curve. Well, Wendy, yeah, we did. Amongst one or two other things. This is David Warner's Big Finish page. So's this. So's this. So's this. So's this. And we're still going. I'm not sure exactly how many of these he actually put in all the way, but he's been there for a little bit.
Let's put it this way: there's a lot he's in. He's not only just in for a wee bit; he's actually on the covers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, he was, as we said, he was in Sapphire and Steel. He did. He was the lead in one of those ones. Dark Shadows apparently did. He's done a lot in the Benny Summerfield because he started off with in the Unbound, and then there was an Unbound. The first one they did Unbound was a series, and each of those was an individual, a single storyline. Although I think with David Warner, David Warner was the Unbound version of the Third Doctor. But I think he did. He's the only one I think who actually had two stories in the original Unbound one, because there was one where he ended off at the end, we went off with the Brigadier, and then he had one audio where he was with the Brigadier. But then Benny Summerfield got dragged into the Unbound universe and met his doctor. And at the end of that one, the last ones I actually led, I actually listened to, they ended up back in our universe. So you've now got the Unbound Doctor and the real Doctor, which is, I'm not sure which Doctor Benny's concurrent with. Because she's been with the 7th and I think with the 8th. Oh God! Oh, I hope he managed to record that before he passed away, but I doubt it somehow. Oh
wow!
Yeah.
Is that for Big Finish,
Yeah.
Wendy? Okay. Because I know that Eccleston was doing Big Finish things now.
Yeah. I see. I mean, I say something like the Box of Delights there with David Jacoby. How much of these in any of these ones I don't know, but yeah, see that's the Unbound ones there.
I never even heard of the Unbound ones, but I'm one that I wouldn't watch I wouldn't listen to an Unbound.
Well, I say the Unbound ones are basically alternate universe Doctors.
Yeah, that's why I probably wouldn't have listened to them.
Yeah, which is fair. I mean, some of them aren't bad. There's one that's actually, I think that may be the first or the second, depending upon how official you want to make Big Finish Unbound, female Doctor, because they had a female Doctor in that way before You Know Who turned up.
Yeah.
Shilling and Sixpence, and they've just finished making a second one. That was a
I've heard of that
couple of
one.
years. That was a
Shilling and Sixpence.
I quite liked it.
That's basically a detective duo, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that ended up on a cliffhanger, and they've actually made sequel to it because so I'm looking forward to that one. He's been in Jago and Lightfoot.
I've listened to that.
Yeah, I like Jago and Lightfoot. I was talking in Benny there. So some of those ones, King Lear. And in fact, can't share two screens at once, can I? Actually, you notice the person next to him is Lisa Bauman again. She was in that with his missus. And Louise Jameson. And I can't remember who else is on there without bringing up the pic. Doctor Who, Torchwood, Jago Lightfoot, Dark Shadow. I'm not sure who did in Dark Shadows, so I'm not listening to much of the Big Finish Dark Shadows.
I've not listened to Big Finish for years.
No, I've listened to some of them, but not a lot of them. But Blake Seven apparently was in Liberated Chronicles as well. The Dorian Gray series.
Yeah, Chronicles, but I don't think I'm not up to 12 yet.
No, I've not listened to many of those. I've got them. The Scary Fires, that was quite fun. That was sort of I remember the early ones of those. There was a sort of well, you can almost tell from the picture on what they are. They're almost a sort of a semi-kids X-Files-y type.
Yeah, the hunt for fantasy witches and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is those gnomes? Are they getting attacked by gnomes? How does that even happen? You guys are weird over there, man.
They stole their fishing rods.
Yeah.
Their fishing rods and their shovels were stolen, so they're after them. But I think that's what the Scary Fires were. It's basically it's less like the X-Files as in sci-fi, but it's more like gnomes and fairies.
I'll read the blurb. When MI13's mortuary begins filling up with disembodied feet of gardening enthusiasts, Harry Crow and Professor Dunning, David Warren and Terry Malloy, are plunged into the sinister world of garden allotments, topiary fowl with a W, and gaudy garden arguments. When the landlord at Harry's local, the Six Bells, is also found minus his snakeskin brothel creepers and their contents, Crow and Dunning are plunged into a more sinister world still of Morris dancers, exceptionally strong ale, and all-powerful Indian deities. What is the secret of the dark of the Six Bells privy? Are the Beer and Real Ale Association merely hirsute eccentrics or something else? And what is the real purpose of Morris dancing? Well, I can answer that because I've read Terry Pratchett. Crow and Tunning discovered that horticulture can be a dangerous business, as they find themselves pitted against their shortest foes yet, the gnomes of death. Da, da, da.
I love it.
Yeah,
Actually, that sounds like a really good port visit to a foreign country when you're on the ship.
Yes, yes, it does. But they're no, they were. I've got those, and I think we'll listen to some of those ones. They're actually quite humorous and quite entertaining. Yeah, I mean, which is why I would be tempted to say if I can change what I'm. First couple of Big Finish.
Yep.
David Warner, and that's Lisa Bauman, whose Doctor Who credentials actually go back to the classic series because she was in the last story.
Survival.
She was one of the cat people in Survival, yes. But in fact, you could say that she is the reason Big Finish exists. Because, of course, if people don't know, Big Finish they were originally I've forgotten the company's name. They were originally a fan company with my brain switched out again. The guy that runs Big Finish, not Jason Haig-Ellery, the other one.
I don't know.
You talk about Nick Briggs.
Nick Briggs, thank you. Yes, like I said, Braveheart. Nick Briggs. Nick Briggs played the Doctor in for fan production audio visuals. Then they became Big Finish. First thing that Big Finish got before they actually had the rights to Doctor Who was the rights to the Bernie Summerfield books, which were a spin-off of the New Adventures, which came out after the series was finished. And Lisa Bauman's starred as Benny Summerfield, and still is Benny Summerfield. And they eventually, they went on. They got other. They picked up a few other things, including one of my favourites, The Tomorrow People. Lisa Bauman does a lot of work. I think she probably works full time for Big Finish because if she's not starring, she seems to be doing producing or directing. And I say David Warner's in nearly anything he can get his hands on, or was for Lisa Bauman. He was must have been a bit coy about it because he always used to say that he came there for that he'd do anything for Big Finish because he enjoyed the lunches.
No,
that's fair enough.
Yeah. I hadn't actually realised that he was. I'm not sure if they were married or not, but certainly partnered up with Lisa Bauman. I saw early one today. I saw some of her described as his wife, and other ones she's normally described as his partner. So I'm not entirely certain, but that's not relevant. Hey, Sadako. I didn't see in the chat. I was too busy doing.
He's coming in the seconds.
Oh, I was. We seem to have lost Jim at the moment as well for some reason.
Jim will be back soon.
Okay.
Hello. So
Hey.
when Dolgy here or no? Not.
She's
busy.
She's in the chat tonight.
Okay. Hello, Wendolgy. Right. Yeah. I've listened to some of the. I've listened to the first two Unbounds that David Warner did. I've listened to what was this? Was it Sympathy for the Devil, the one where Mark Gatiss plays the Master?
That was one of them. Yeah.
That was the first one.
Yeah. The second one was is the one I'm more familiar with though. That's Masters of
Davros.
War. That's
Davros.
Yeah, it's where David Warner's Doctor and the Brigadier land on Skaro.
Yeah.
It's a follow-on to the Daleks, and he kind of finds out that the Daleks on Skaro are not quite as ruthless as the other forebears, and he leads a revolution, but he kind of finds himself having to work with the Daleks after all. It was a very good one, and he was great as the Doctor, I must say. I thought, what a shame he never played the Doctor on TV because he sounded so right for the role.
Oh, that's what I said. I mean, I'd said for ages that When they were talking about who was going to be the next Doctor, I had 3 people in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was quite hopeful when Chris Marshall was going to do it. Personally, it was personal taste, obviously. Other people think differently. Unfortunately, given his age, no. But I would love to see David Warner as the Doctor. Or top of the list, of course, was Tom Ellis. But yes, I said somewhere else, a couple of places, that I would love to have seen David Warner actually as the Doctor on TV. On screen.
Like when he plays it on the audio, you can envision him as very Hartnellian, very kind of missionary, kind of moral.
Well, I think his version, was the Unbound. His Unbound Doctor, I think, was the 3rd Doctor.
Yeah,
but yeah, definitely a lot of Hartnell in there as well.
I'm surprised they didn't get him in as the War Doctor.
He would have been good, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, would have been good.
Oh yeah, he was in just about everything he did. But I mean, he was such a what's the word I'm looking for? He's a very good actor. As people said elsewhere, he was a very talented actor.
Yeah, it's like it does feel like he was in so many things. He's been in so many franchises as well. Like he's been in Doctor Who. He did the audios. It was so like that showed he would be willing to kind of play any part.
Mm. Yeah,
and he was in Star Trek as well. So it's great. There's a Star Trek Doctor Who connection because he was in the Star Trek movies as Chancellor Gorkon, wasn't it, in Star Trek 6?
That's correct. Yep.
And he was the ambassador in Star Trek 5.
Yeah, that dreadful Star Trek 5 where he played St. John Talbot, the Federation's representative on this miserable planet.
I have the novelization of that, and it kind of describes why he sunk into depression, why Cyborg's able to convert him to his cause, because he just apparently like he'd been a negotiator in the past, and he'd misnegotiated, like he'd done thanks to a mistranslation. He ended up accidentally getting hostages killed that he was supposed to rescue.
Oh no! And he gets sent to the ass end of nowhere.
But yeah, that's why he kind of drinks his troubles away with.
I love that whole intro. He's just smoking. He's drinking. He's all disheveled. He doesn't look very happy. It's like the Casablanca of planets.
Yeah, and then you got like the drunk Klingon there as well. Like he meets the new Romulan ambassador, and the Klingon's just a dirty old man. It's like, and he says something in Klingonese, and what did he say? Because the Romulan woman doesn't understand. And he says, he was asking him, he'd be interested to see you disclose your blouse rather than your files, and then she shoots back at him a Klingon insult, and then he strikes back, yeah, screw you, and he goes, hang on. You've been able to talk English this entire time we've been living together on this planet. There are a few good laughs in good jokes in Star Trek 5. Like when Kirk confronts God and he's like, "What does God want with a starship?" and goes, "You doubt me?" And it's like, "I seek proof." And McCoy goes to him and says, "Jim, you don't ask the Almighty for his ID."
Yeah, definitely few good moments in that. The role in Star Trek 6 was much better all around. It's a much better film.
Yeah.
And again, just like we talked with most of his roles, when he's on the screen, I mean, and there, of course, he's playing opposite of Christopher Plummer. Again, two just really big personalities, and it's just so much fun. You haven't experienced Shakespeare until you've heard it in the original Klingon is so good.
Christopher Plummer is doing a fantastic job with that as well. I mean, it's surprising. I met him a couple of times in his later years, but I don't want to cast aspersion on someone, but he definitely seems to be as the individual behind the actor that is doing the roles. There seems to be a slight disconnect, but then again, you never know if it is that, hey, I play this character. And I'm not me, I'm an actor. So there is like 2 steps, and then he steps into the shoes of whatever he wants to do. But I do love him in Star Trek. He is just absolutely fantastic. And you can literally, in that scene where he has most of his screen time, is no longer Doc Brown or anything like that in there. It's him having a new character. Yes, you recognize him because you do recognize him as Doc Brown, but he's not the same character whatsoever.
Yeah. Some actors are like that. When you get Sean Connery's in nearly everything. Yeah, I mean, nothing against Sean Connery. It was his acting style, and he made a very good career out of what he was capable of doing.
David Warner was not David Warner in everything you saw him in.
No,
he became whatever that role required him to be.
David Warner was not a Jack Nicholson. He was different in everything.
Mm.
Whereas I think Jack Nicholson's is just Jack Nicholson in this every movie.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson is Jack Nicholson, and it makes Jack Nicholson actually makes a good characters in a lot of films.
See, I think
you can have 100 genres, but his character would still fit in to all of them. Whereas David Warner would have just gone as like, okay, this is a script. Okay, this time I'm gonna be a good guy. This time I'm gonna be a bad guy. This time I'm gonna be a cartoonish character that is an evil overlord. Oh, God. And he would just blend into them.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I'm sorry.
The main 2 villain roles I remember him in were, of course, Time Bandits and Tron.
Yep.
For me. Yeah, when I was 11, like I had Tron for the video rental for about like 3 weeks, and then I could go several weeks without hiring it, and then I'd want to see it again, and I'd hire it, and it's like we're on record that no one else has hired this film except you. In weeks, this is and it's like wow. So it's kind of it had become a bit of a cult hit by then, but I was still fascinated by it, and he was great as Sark. He was kind of sympathetic as Sark as well. You could kind of tell he was just the second man to the Monsters MCP program.
Yeah.
Well, he was also the bad guy, the main bad guy in the Baldur's Gate 2 computer game.
I like him as a villain. He plays a very good villain. As evil, he was brilliant as... I'm sorry. Go ahead, PJ. I'm sorry.
Sorry, he doesn't play the atypical villain. Because you look at a lot of what Hollywood they did earlier in the 80s, 90s. The villains were always very English-spoken.
Well, yeah.
And so a very atypical English, well-spoken, highly educated villain.
No, but come on, we had that in GoldenEye, where Sean Bean was the villain. Sorry, spoilers, guys, but it's been quarter of a century since that one came out. I don't consider it a spoiler anymore. Sean Bean.
Well, yeah, but
Sean Bean.
But it should either be Sean Bourne or Sheen Bean in any language other than English. Because you change one letter and you completely change the pronunciation.
Yeah, he's the guy that's the internet thinks always dies, but he really doesn't. He's died in 3 films. He'd never died in Sharp.
I don't know of anything that he hasn't died in.
Sharp.
I don't know that one.
No, Sharp is a TV show based on the books by Bernard Cornwell. Sharp.
So obviously British series.
Yes. Yes, he plays in that. He never died in that.
Was he really young in that? Was that before his dying phase of his career?
No, but I don't even think a lot of the stuff he was
He's literally only died 3 times in total. I think it is like a really low number.
Game of Thrones, of course he died. The James Bond movie, he died. Lord of the Rings, he dies.
No. You have to remove GoldenEye because he got killed. He didn't die.
Well, he still dies. I mean, he expires. He doesn't need a natural end.
That's nitpicking, saying he didn't die, get killed. That's
Patriot as well. The interesting thing about Patriot Games is
part and kill in that.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is in the book version, he gets arrested. In the film version, when Sean Bean's playing him, he dies at the end. Like in the book version, like Jack Ryan, like is about to, like he sees him, like he's the guy who's, put his daughter in hospital, and he's like he's gonna choke him out, and then he kind of, but then he kind of releases him, just says, look, just take him in, and this guy is kind of his colleagues are like, we would have covered for you if you killed him, we would have said it was self-defense. But you did the right thing. Not she showed you better character kind of thing. Tron.
Shall we play this clip?
Sean Bean died 24 different times in TV and movies. If you start to type in how many movies did Sean Bean, it finishes off died in. It finishes off the sentence died in. He died in 24 separate films and TV shows, comprising approximately a quarter of his on-screen catalogue. So that's only a quarter of his nearly 100 times he's been on screen. He died 24 times.
God, I'm just surprised he lived that many times.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you know who else dies in a lot of films? Paul Winfield. Like, he died in Wrath of Khan. He dies in Terminator. He dies in Mars Attacks. And he was always dying.
But there's going to be ones. The thing is,
sorry, slight objections there. Who doesn't die in Mars Attacks?
Fair enough.
Oh gosh, that movie.
Yes,
the old woman. They blew up Congress.
It's just Tom Jones didn't die. I think that was just one of those movies you could just sit back, switch off your brain, and enjoy it.
You definitely don't need your brain. That's true.
You definitely no.
Take this out, put it over here for a minute. That was Jack Nicholson was the president in that, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he?
Yeah, and also he was some Vegas casino owner, and all. We played 2 parts.
Oh. He was great as the president, like he was like really depressed, or we're just losing this war. Then like the French president calls him and says, I just secured this new deal that will secure peace. He goes, Maurice, get out the room. Get out now. Like, oh God, and then he's kind of
It's an interesting bit of trivia for you. He's been on a stamp.
Oh, David Warner.
Yeah.
Oh.
Apparently he was pictured as the character of Chancellor Gorkon on one set of 18 British commemorative postage stamps.
Nice.
Wow.
In 13th November 2020, celebrating Star Trek.
Nice.
There you go.
On it,
That is very
William
cool.
Shatner, Patrick Stewart, Avery Brooks, Kate Mulgrew, Scott Bakula set out for all the captains. Jason Isaacs, oh God, you mean did fucking disgracery. Nimoy, Marina Sirtis, Alexander Siddig, Dominic Keating, oh dear God, Monique from White and Green, Shazad Latif, who I must admit I've never heard of, so was presumably either one of the films I haven't seen. Simon Pegg, Tom Hardy, Malcolm McDowell, Alice Eve, and Idris Elba. And apparently, I didn't know this, he was suggested by Jane Baker as the candidate to replace Colin Baker. So we might have had, in an alternate universe, he might have been the 7th Doctor.
Oh man, that would have been so good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm one of those ones who generally likes McCoy, but...
The Glasgow Comic Con, Mila Cyrus is actually going to be there. I'm glad I'm not going to be.
Yeah!
She'd probably call me a white, you know what I mean? It's this right, Neil.
Well, it goes without saying.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know, but
You know, someone mentioned. So I'm just going down the notes bio thing on IMDb. You know, someone earlier on mentioned him being the War Doctor. Roman, I think it was.
No,
1966. He turned down a role in the play A Man for All Seasons because he was busy playing Hamlet. The role went to one John Hurt.
Oh, wow. Nice bringing that around, man.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway, shall we play this clip?
Yep.
Here's another iconic clip.
I've got a challenge for you, Sark.
I've got a little challenge for you, Stark. I don't recruit. It's a tough case, but I want him treated in the usual manner.
great computer graphics, eh?
Go for a while, blow him away.
Got it. Been hoping you'd send me somebody with a little bit of guts. What kind of program is he?
It's not any kind of program, Stark. He's a user.
A user?
That's right. He pushed me in the real world. Somebody pushes me, I push back, so I brought him down here. What's the matter, Stark? You look nervous.
Well, I don't know, user. I mean, users wrote us. The user even wrote you.
No one user wrote me. I'm worth millions of their man years.
What if I can't?
You rather take your chances with me? Want me to slow down your power cycles for you?
Wait! I need that!
Then pull yourself together. Get this clown trained. I want him in the games until he dies playing. Acknowledge.
Acknowledge. Master Control.
End of line.
We will have to deal with a bastard boss like that.
All I can say about this is I believe in the user. And PJ, you're going to snicker at this. I believe in the user, although Picnic.
Picnic is a big problem in IT. It's almost as bad as a craft moment.
What is Picnic? You'll have to fill me in.
Problem in chair, not in computer.
Oh, okay.
So if it's a picnic problem, the problem's in the chair, not in the computer. It's the same as if you get a craft moment. Can't remember a fucking thing. Yes, we use those acronyms quite frequently, don't we, Jim?
Yeah, we definitely do. I think Picnic is the most diplomatic one.
Yes.
Because it's problem in chair, not in computer. Basically, it's like you don't know how to use a computer. And although I'm probably still the youngest one on this channel, or whatever, I remember the days back in IT in the like mid 90s, where people were using CD trays as cup holders for their coffee mug.
My cup holder is broken. Your cup holder, did you get it as a special function when you purchased? No, it comes with a computer. I've had it in my last two computers.
Oh, wow.
Tray's broken. Or did you see this became a meme? It was that silly. Was my screen is not switching on.
Have you tried turning it off and on again, ma'am?
Yeah, I have.
Which is why IT Crowd is such an amazing TV show.
Could you open the window? Why? Is it because it's hot in here? But the window's actually quite high up and I can't reach it. They say, well, could you check to see if there's any cables plugged in at the back? Maybe one of them's come loose. I can't, you see, we've had a power cut. Yes, I've heard a lot of really, really silly things. across the board
Sadly, I
from-
lived through most of them.
Yes, unfortunately. I had a guy who basically every morning kept complaining, my mouse cursor has disappeared. And he'd come up and it would be a wee thing sitting in the corner going, and it's just an icon, just going like that. And I would fix it, go down next morning, it would happen again. Did that for a week, and I'm sitting there thinking, something has to be wrong. Okay, it's the end of the day, switch the computer off, he went, power off. He basically didn't shut his machine down, and he wondered why every time he started it up, they had corruptions. And you're sitting there thinking, how long have you used a computer? I've been using a computer for about 5 years. I do. What his job was, he was an architect, used architect programs, and he still had problems because his computer wouldn't work properly because he switched it off by holding the power button in, and it'd go. Poof. I saw a guy who used to use Excel, had used Excel for the 7 years I had worked for the company. And he asked me, and I had been in one day, and he was sitting with the spreadsheet up and a calculator. I says, "What are you doing?" He says, "Oh, I have to calculate this every time I put new figures in." You realise Excel is designed so you can tell that to calculate them. Oh, does it? 7 years he'd been using Excel.
Oh my god!
And he didn't know how to use
That's literally one of the points of the program.
He would type the numbers in and then use a calculator to get the calculation.
Just to give description for the panel and the chat, we're talking about the dark ages of IT support. Where they didn't realize that in Excel you can summarize numbers.
I'm talking about less than 5 years ago.
That's a training problem. That's a management training problem, not an operator problem, to be fair. You'd obviously never been shown.
Well, this is why I'm going back to picnic.
Mm-hmm.
Problem in chair, not in
if you're using it for 7 years and you haven't picked up the basics that you can calculate, add that to that. 7 years, even without training, if you've been using the same program day in, day out for 7 years and you don't know how to even use the basics of it.
You should have turned him into a dog.
I had a couple of people like that. Basically, one guy asked me to help him calculate, and I had to tell him, you hit that screen, go do plus, and then that one. He says, "Is that how all you do?" Basic adding up 2 cells, and he couldn't do it. Had to be shown.
Wow.
But and you think about it. These are people who use apps every day. You assume they know how to use it when you come into a company. And you sit there and go, I shall be out. I shall go off walk. I may be sometime. But that's fun stuff. But the thing is, when they talk about in Tron, they talk about the users. We just sit there thinking,
Yeah.
Users are very scary. The problem is, it's not when they're using the computer, it's when they're talking about using the computer, they're very scary.
Tell me about computers.
What is this thing out? Oh, do you know, the very first time I worked in Motorola, a long time ago, the manager insisted he was the first one to get his computer when they went to the computer system. And for 6 months, he had the only computer in the building. And do you know what he did with it? He used it as a doorstop because he didn't know how to use it. So he spent $3,000 on a computer. I'm getting an echo. $3,000 on a computer that he used to open his door, so his room wasn't.
Oh my goodness gracious!
But because he was a manager, nobody says no.
This is why one of my favorite bits in Tron is when finally Flynn, who's in the computer, as is finally Tron's actually asking him, "Look, who are you?" And it's like, "I'm actually a user. I'm what you guys would call a user." And he goes, "So you're the one who wrote us. You're the one who created our world, and everything you've done has been according to a plan, right?" He goes, "What? No, it hasn't. I just, you just do what you as a user, you're just supposed to do what looks like you're supposed to keep doing, no matter how crazy it seems." And like Tron goes, "Well, that's how it is for programs, yes." And he goes, "Hate to disappoint you, but that's how it is for users too." It's like he's a god to them. Yeah.
How disappointing it must have been for them.
Yeah.
Never meet your god.
Definitely no. Especially you imagine computers nowadays. Look how intelligent we are. These people who use us must be uber intelligent. How do you spell lol? Yeah, I mean,
How do you spell lol?
But you can just imagine it if and they did Tron now with the exact same title script and somebody coming in and going, "You're a user, you must know what you're doing." Just no, I can actually troll people if that's what you mean. Copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. But you imagine some of these the programs he was in done now. You imagine Time Bandits done now.
Oh no! Leave it alone! Leave it alone!
No, but that's what I'm saying. What a different movie these would be.
Yeah. You're right.
Because people like David Warner would not be able to shine. He would still be classed as the evil genius, the evil one in that, but he wouldn't be able to have him and Robert and what was the other guy? But and Bruce, I think it was Robert and Bruce, wasn't it? He couldn't have the three of them having that silly scene where they were evil but not overly evil. They were just incompetently evil and against the evil genius who treated him still fairly well, considering he was meant to be evil.
Of course he'd be evil. He's a straight white male.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
By
If you did
definition,
that
evil.
now, his character would be so different.
Have you seen the reviews of Resident Evil?
Yeah, I saw.
I don't think there are any white men in there that survived more than 5 minutes.
But I saw Ash's reviews. He couldn't actually go on before he actually got James Deary in to help him because he couldn't do it.
I've still got to watch his review of the last episode. But
can I just say,
I keep forgetting where this one is from, but it is the part in a criminal like Ocean's 11 heist level film. Here's my handle, here's my spout, because they need the voice recognition of the individual that has the voice passcode to a computer. That was cleverly played when it came out. Today it's like just a meme.
Yeah. Well, they've done that how many times? Even I've been rewatching Burn Notice, and there's the bit where he's Chuck Finley is talking to the guy, and Fiona's sitting next to him with all the sayings he needed to get him to say, because they're trying to actually basically build up a sentence of him giving secrets to the Americans.
Yeah, I love that episode.
And every time he said one of the words, they would score it off, and it was literally so they recorded it and got all the words they needed for the sentence they wanted to build, and that was done smartly. And then they basically explained how they built it, even though it sounded a bit fake. All you do is put the occasional car driving by noise to when you've got something that is maybe higher pitched than lower pitched. You put a driving by noise, and it sounds as if he's doing it from outside, so it hides the distortions and stuff like that. And it was very well done. But you imagine now they would actually say, "Excuse me, could you say this sentence?" The guy would say the sentence, and would say, "Thank you," and then they'll think, that sentence is the same sentence I need to get into my computer. So why would I say it? It's that type of thing. They would just actually, it wouldn't be cleverly done. It would be a case of somebody would just get them to say it and they would record it and play it back as if,
I don't even think you could get a movie like Time After Time now. I don't think an audience would be able to accept that movie now. It's great watching it as it was, but I think they would have a hard time as a plot device. H.G. Wells, A Time Machine, and Jack the Ripper. Let's do the pitch meeting. Back then, it was fantastic. The problem is, I mean, entertainment has become so corrupted that you can't have a great story like that.
Oh no,
I need to see Time After Time. I've not seen it, but I know it's been more or less for a while because it's a Nicholas Meyer film. Like so I thought I need to check that out.
Yeah,
but I mean,
I hadn't forgot all about it until Roman actually mentioned it, and then it just sort of back in.
That's another one to go onto the list to get that to watch again. The list is getting longer.
Well, that is the problem. Every time we do a stream, they mention good movies. You're sitting thinking,
Oh, it's not so much that. I'm okay. It's not just movies. I keep getting people mentioning TV series. That's bad.
Very bad.
That's bad.
Because at the moment, I'm actually watching Burn Notice again. I'm also re-listening to Dungeon Crawler Carol books again. And I've got a couple of movies that are on my list for this week again. And it's literally I've got my books to read as well. I've got 2 books sitting there I've been trying to read for the last week.
I think I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to the Scary Files with or the early day. Oh, no.
What I'll just have to do Thursday, switch off my computer, sit down and just read my 2 books and never bother about anything else. Because I've got the Judge Dredd book and I've got the Ash is actually on my list for this week. So it is. And then I've got all my Commando comics as well to read, and I've got a Stabilizer, and I've got. So that's the problem. I need to actually watch it. Plus, I've got Galaxy Quest for Wednesday to watch.
Yeah. The thing I know, I've got to watch that as well. The things, the things we do for other people, it's such a chore.
I know.
Having to
rewatch Galaxy Quest for the 50th time. I know it's really terrible.
I'll have to use Amazon Prime for that.
I've got the DVD. I'm watching it as soon as we're finished. And but a wee bit late tonight.
I need to get someone to do Starship Troopers because I don't need to watch that film or read the book.
Oh, I love that.
The Starship Troopers one is a really tricky one, right? Because the book is not the book, the film, and the film is not the book.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's just the names.
I'm okay.
There is nothing else between that, but it is amazing.
My Starship Troopers T-shirt, so I can go like that. Hey, look. Yeah, I do love the Starship Troopers movie. I love the movie. The book is good, but I love the movie, and I think it's because it's done so well that it's almost like an advertisement for how they would do it. See, the thing is, now I can actually imagine them doing a movie like Starship Troopers for real and expecting people to actually fall for it. Like I would something like COVID. You want to know more? Every time you watch a news program or something.
Oh, what? You mean every time you mention it?
Yeah, exactly. So it basically, have you checked into Twitter when you go retweet? Have you read the article? Want to know more? But it's like that. That is so well done in the way it was actually played, and it's just a fun movie apart from anything else. Die bugs.
No, that's it.
Oh, it is. It's so over the top.
Yeah,
but it's still a lot of fun. It could cross a line where it becomes an unwatchable movie pretty quickly, but they managed to keep it together. It's just like barely together, but it's together, and it makes it so much fun to watch.
Yeah, a fascist dictatorship, and it actually is
done
right in such a way that it doesn't feel like it. Like, for instance, come on, kids, here, want to play with my gun? It's basically designed not to actually. It's meant to make it look bad, but it's done in such a way that is subtle. It's not done bang over the head.
It's done because Verhoeven couldn't be asked to read the book and decided it meant what and didn't understand a thing about what it meant.
Yeah, but it still actually basically says war is bad and fascist. This is a fascist movie, but it's done in such a way that it's a movie.
It's a fascist militaristic state in which you don't have to join the military. In fact, you're actively dissuaded from joining any sort of service. You do not actually get to vote or any of the things of citizenship until you successfully passed your service. If you're dismissed from the service for any reason, that's it. You are done. It's so thoroughly fascist. It's unbelievable. Fucking idiot doesn't understand what fascism means. So No, sorry, it's just
say what you really mean, Colin. Don't mince your words.
It's just some of my favourite parts of that book.
That's what the whole premise of the movie was. That this is how the fascist military work. But yeah,
except
happy and no problem. Just do what you want, unless if you've got money, you can buy yourself out of it. But don't you worry. But it's done in such a way that this would be like the 4th or 5th generation fascism. The way I was looking into it, because it's been how everybody grew up, even the parents and grandparents grew up. So this is normal. So it doesn't need to be over the top unit, because everybody expects this is what you need to do, and because it's just normal. So you didn't need to you're not getting forced into it. It's just a case of you don't want to do it. You're not part of anything. You can't do anything. You can't get this. You can't even have a baby unless we let you.
Exactly. Interesting enough. So what you mean, what you're describing there, is a highly right-wing system of social credits, ESG scores, where you have to have the correct attitude. Hold on a second. I'm sure there's someone trying to push that sort of thing these days. But for some reason, I'm not thinking it's right.
Remember the meme, right wing, left wing, or right wing, it's all part of the same bird.
Yeah.
Yes, the same coin, and that's exactly what it is. It's basically, but the way they were presenting it, it's not. If it's not, it wouldn't have been a communist utopia. It's more of a fascist utopia, which they're into. But it's still, it's the way they did it was smart. They didn't go over the top with it, and it's smart enough that it's an interesting movie, but it's still got those wee subtleties in the background. You're sitting there thinking, wait a minute, they're basically, come on, kids. Here, come and join and kill all the bugs, and here's a gun that you do it with. And you're giving kids guns and encouraging them to kill.
With the current level of technology, not the current idiots in charge of so-called entertainment, but with the current level of technology we've got, I would really love to see current technology, proper version of Starship Troopers. I would even found a role for David Warner. David Warner could have been, Colonel Dubois, which is the school teacher, because Ratback is not the school teacher in the book. He's only the officer. The school teacher bit, the first bit. David Warner was the school teacher.
Because they brought him in as Richard.
I mean, because in the book, Ratchat and the school teacher are two completely different characters, because you have to be a veteran to teach history and moral philosophy. And they go through it. They notice one of the points they make is that he must be he must have done his service because he must be a citizen. But Johnny, just as he's in his training, he gets a letter from his teacher saying, "I happen the rest of it," and it's signed Lieutenant Colonel Dubois, retired. And he thinks, they thought he was a corporal, the best, and he was a lieutenant colonel. And he's that. Well, but I think David Warner would have done quite nice for that. I say in a modern technology setting, but without modern messaging.
Colin, do you think maybe it would have worked best as a TV series if it was to really explore Heinlein's novel? I mean, I've not read Heinlein's novel, but I probably should at some point. But I mean, would you say TV series would be best?
Maybe miniatures, but it's not a particular, like most of the novels of that time. It's not a very long book. I mean, literally. I mean, it's 100 and some odd pages, maybe. Oh, okay, good. PJ's managed to do that because mine are in the other. Both my copies are in the other room. But yeah, I mean, oddly enough, there was a mini series. There was a kids series called Roughnecks, which was CGI, and in some ways, because it was CGI, that was closest to the films because the thing that irritated a lot of fans, or one I noticed about the fan things is the mobile infantry that they do are basically modern day armored infantry. The mobile infantry in the book are space paratroopers.
275 pages.
Wow.
So
that's a lot bigger than mine is. Mine's a small print. 19.
I see. I've read a little bit of the book once when
Colin,
after the film.
sorry, I have to actually repeat what Colin says. Mine's is a lot bigger than his is.
Yep, I saw that coming.
Yeah, but mine's probably seen more use than yours has.
Oh,
Mine's
Christ.
is pristine, not even out the box.
I was going to say on the grounds I've had to replace mine at least once because it's been from so much use. Yes, actually, yeah. I mean, it probably would make a reasonable mini-series because there's. I know we've drifted off here, but it's the format is it starts literally immediately right into that.
Back. Look at it says right at the back.
I can't read that.
5,000 years in the future, humanity faces total extermination. 5,000 years difference compared to where we are now. How many years would you have said start based on the movie? Just on the movie, because obviously you've not read that. Based on the movie, how many years how many centuries are we in advance that we could have the spaceships? But they're saying 5,000 years, but they're still using machine guns with rifles with solid bullets.
Right.
Fair enough. They basically must be tiny because they never reload. But 5,000 years into the future, that's what they're basically saying that is. So
I always assumed it was 23rd century, like a bit like kind of Star Trek, but obviously not set in the same Star Trek universe because it's not.
Yeah,
it's not the Benevolent Federation.
Well, and the world is recognizable. You see different stuff, but it's basically similar stuff. If you go back 2,000 years from now, it's not the same stuff.
Yeah, you can go back and you're seeing Roman buildings and Colosseum, and it's different. It's noticeably, let's say noticeably different. But you're saying 5,000 years in the future, isn't it?
I mean, you go back 40 years to the 80s, and not much would be different society-wise, would they?
No. You've got. It's the technology is different, but I mean, we still have stuff from the 80s, literally, that you're using. Me, for instance, but that was a little bit funny. It wasn't great. It wasn't my best. I apologize.
Hey, Colin, you were going to say anyway. Colin had a point.
No, I was going to say actually, I've just got my replacement cup, and yeah, it does say 5,000 years in the future on the back, but I didn't think. And it is. It's old. It's longer than I thought it was. It's 200 and some odd pages. So yeah.
But you were going to say something before we got into the issue of how the time setting. I mean. Never mind. Okay, never mind.
No, I went and got. Just went and grabbed my. Yeah, I was going to say the thing that annoyed a lot of people, certainly on me, was 3 Starship Troopers movies. Because it doesn't affect the animated ones. And we finally bloody get the goddamn space armor at the end of the 3rd one, and they come down like freaking space Jesus. God.
Yeah, they come down in the capsules and just. Yep.
The only saving grace for Starship Troopers 3 was to Paul in a tight wet t-shirt. Because I've forgotten the actress's name suddenly. Brain went dead there. Jolene Blaylock. Jolene Blaylock.
Oh, from Enterprise.
Yeah. But that was one of my things. Is because they're called Cap Troopers for capsule troopers because they actually eject from orbit in a capsule.
Yeah.
An egg-like capsule, literally, individually, they're shot out and they go through, and there's all sorts of things, and then they come down in. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think a mini-series will probably be the best way to do Starship Troopers. Yeah, I mean, because the thing is there's a lot of flashbacks in it as well, and there's a lot of. It's a lid in some ways in the book. It's a bit like Foundation. One of the reasons why I thought the Foundation series was so crap, because it's almost because Foundation there's a lot of talking. There's quite a bit of talking and political philosophizing in Starship Troopers.
In the book version, you mean?
Yeah, in the book, yeah, because a lot of it is Heinlein having come out of the Second World War. In fact, if anyone's interested, there was a series which who directed Alien?
No, that was Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott.
Blade Runner guy.
Well, you have to be careful there because you have Alien,
the first one,
singular.
Yeah, the guy,
Aliens, plural.
The guy
That's Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott, thank you, because I was going to get Ridley Scott did a series a few years ago now called, I think it's on eBay, called Prophets of Science Fiction, and one of those is about Heinlein, and why he wrote Starship Troopers. What part of it? I think he wrote Starship Troopers partly in response to hippies and the anti-nuclear movement.
Okay.
But the other thing I always recommend people while we're on this horrible tangent, I always recommend people read Starship Troopers, then read a book called The Forever War by Jack Haldeman.
Oh, the Forever War's fantastic.
The Forever War. I loved the Forever War.
Forever War.
I'd love to see a film or TV or miniseries of that as well.
Yeah.
And then possibly.
You imagine what they could do, because you could get all the classic old actors in a quite simple way to get a load of young actors in and actually have them believable, having all these skills. It's a perfect way of doing it.
Amongst other things, of course, one of the other things that Starship, I honestly don't know. I'd love to know whether or not Verhoeven ever read The Forever War. Because one major difference between the book and the film is that in the book, the military is a boys-only club, right? You go to the Forever War, and the Forever War is a meritocracy.
Mm-hmm.
You are conscripted because of your IQ. So it's literally equally male and female. And got some of the things in there, modern day, the modern day nutcases would love. Like there's one bit where they're described as sexually compliant by tradition and by law.
Yeah.
Because they're mixed. I mean, they're mixed. Yeah,
they're also as well because they're all genetically modified. So you can have the 5-foot woman beating the crap out of anything the same as the 6-foot guy standing next to her, because they're all genetically modified.
I don't know about that. I don't know that. Yeah, well, the thing is,
do you know what? I'm getting it mixed up. Sorry.
I was going to say,
I'm thinking of Old Man's
War. Yeah, I was going to say,
I'm thinking of Old Man's War. Sorry, I'm getting the two of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't quite remember.
No, I'm getting the two of them mixed up. I've read the two of them, and Old Man's War is the one I've read most recently, which I love. I must admit, Old Man's War.
To be honest, if you like the politics in Starship Troopers, then go and read The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. Totally different story. But basically, the American Revolution on the moon. And it is lit. I mean, to the point that they actually describe it. And there's one bit where they're going around the moon's a penal colony. Well, it's a combination between. It's as if Australia had an American Revolution because the moon is a penal colony.
So it's males only.
No, I said a penal.
That's next week's Unplugged episode, isn't it?
Yes, I said penal, not pen. And at one point they go around and it's very cleverly done because again there's a lot of political discussions in there, and also some interesting discussions on marriages. But there's they go around various places looking for support, and they're emphasising. So, in the States, they're emphasising this should happen on the 4th of July. They go down to Mexico and they say what happened on I think it's the 5th of May. big date in the Mexican histories. I think I'm getting the dates now and that sort of thing. So again, it's Heinlein. Heinlein actually doing quite intensive, almost heavy-handed politics, but doing it well.
Well, he's thinking through the universe he's written, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's doing that, and he's thinking. I think he's expanding his ideas on certain things, and he's actually putting in. Yeah, but he's doing, and he's doing it. These days, you will get the same sort of heavy-handed political crap you get, but he's got it being explained, or he's got it by the professor asking in Moon to Schmidt. Here we go again, or challenging him. Why such and such is better than such and such system and all this sort of thing. Just make him think. Rather than actually these days, of course, it would just be straight out lecture. Oh God. Yeah. I got someone with some brains and some integrity. Please make a series of Robert Heinlein series.
No, don't. I tell you, it's about.
That's why I said integrity.
That doesn't make any difference. They think they think they've got integrity, so.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. If Elon Musk's got billions to save billions by not buying Twitter, I wonder if he'd actually buy something and actually make he'd make some Robert Heinlein movies. Oh God!
Well, I mean, you just need to look at
the ones that didn't want him to buy Twitter. Don't actually succeed and actually force him to buy Twitter.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I mean, I haven't been following it that closely, but that's another. Great.
Isn't it just? We don't want you to buy Twitter. We're not giving you the stats. Okay, I'm not buying Twitter. But you said you were going to buy it. You better buy it. Not cases.
We're taking you to court now. Even though that means we know you're going to force us to hand over the information we don't want to give you.
Yep, exactly.
It just goes to show how nuts they are.
Yes.
They're nuts. But you're speaking of, I mean, integrity in filmmaking, how you couldn't make Starship Troopers now because it would be off the rails. That's like Picard is off the rails. But you go back to Next Gen, I mean, and back to David Warner, and you talk about Chain of Command, parts 1 and 2.
Yeah.
These were not action-packed episodes. This was an extreme amount of dialogue between these two characters. And my God, that's what made it so very good. He was evil and dark and twisted, but I don't even know if he ever raised his voice.
No.
And
the scene with the egg is just
yeah. You look at it, the basics of it, right? That could be seen as a filler episode. The main part is 2 characters only. No big sceneries, nothing. That could have been seen as a filler episode because they've got 2 characters. There's wee bits and pieces where you see the rest, but in effect, they're not needing to do a lot of scenes and stuff like that. So
I think I've seen that done one other place quite well, and oddly enough, depending on who you listen to and who you believe, it has a Star Trek connection. Because apparently DS9 was ripped off of it, but Babylon 5.
Aye, they basically reckon that Babylon 5 was. They reckon that DS9 was a rip-off, but it wasn't. They reckon that the guys who wrote it had seen it and just used certain ideas.
Well, they'd had JMS's Bible for a year, but as I say, there's a lot of controversy about that. But there's an episode in that where Sheridan is captured, and it's almost entirely. It's not quite two-handed, but it's almost. It's almost entirely two-handed between him and an interrogator, and again, similar sort of psychological techniques as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, and their stage acting skills are really evident here when you have those kind of scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be watching a play that could be live on the stage in front of you for what we got from that episode, and just the extreme amounts of dialogue exchange between them. That's just, I think, hands down one of the best. It's a 2-parter, but I'll call it episode that Next Gen ever produced.
Uh-huh. And you imagine that even though that's two people sitting talking, two actors, they were when it was filmed, when the monologue for each of them, it was on them the whole time. It wasn't a case of it was on for a wee while and then nipped to a different camera angle. That's they fluffed up they couldn't actually remember the whole line, so they had to do it in two parts, and then they cut it together, or four parts and cut it together because the camera kept moving. And it's that kind of thing. It shows their acting chops where they could do the full monologue and they didn't need to move the camera. It was right on them, showing them
absolutely.
The look of them. And it's things like that. You don't get that now.
No.
Well,
the same as a fight scene in a movie. It's all got multiple cuts because they can't do what they did. You look at Star Wars, the fight scene with Obi-Wan and what was his the Sith? Oh God, Darth Maul.
Darth Maul.
The prequel one with the Darth Maul and
and Qui-Gon.
I'm thinking you're jumping too far ahead there, because if there is ever a fight scene that should be remembered, it's the Princess Bride.
I knew you were going to say the Princess Bride. I'm just talking about.
Yeah, but they learned everything. They were not sword fighters before, and they spent months training.
And it's basically the fact is they filmed the fight same as the Princess Bride, as well as that they filmed the fight in long shots and sequences. It wasn't a case of cut.
Yeah.
And it was a case of just so it made it look, tried to make it look as if it flowed, but it didn't. Whereas it's the same type with actors. Certain actors, you can see that they can't probably remember more than one line at a time, so they cut backwards and forwards, so it all puts it in from different camera angles, make it sound as if they're speaking the whole line. Whereas you've got ones like David Warner and Patrick Stewart, theatre actors, who have to learn their whole line, their whole show for that.
Yeah. Well, I think both David Warner and Patrick Stewart are Royal Shakespeare Company members, for starters. So they're going to have that experience of learning a play for a week, and then doing rep or something, and then doing something else completely different 2 weeks later. So they're going to have that training.
What makes my impression of David Warner?
Nerds across the sea unite.
That's what I like to hear. All the red one, all the Tom Baker one. That's what I like to see.
Of course, I can't remember offhand when the sonic screwdriver first appeared.
It first appeared in Patrick Troughton, and it literally was a sonic screwdriver.
Well,
and he basically brings it out and does that, and the screw turns.
Yeah, what's that? And the thing is, that's what I've always said. A sonic screwdriver, I can understand. It makes sense to me because you get the sound waves to the right frequency. Exactly the same principle to the idea of an army breaking step when they march across a bridge. You get it vibrating to the right frequency, and the screw is going to shake, and because of the design of the screw, it's going to shake and it's going to unscrew itself. Mm-hmm. Which is why a laser screwdriver makes no sense whatsoever. In John Sims' case, it doesn't make sense.
No, but it did appear in Patrick Troughton's one. It wasn't his final one. It wasn't War Games. I think it was the one before War Games.
Theory of the Deep, I think.
Because he was in the room and he basically wanted to go through to get out, and he brought out the sonic screwdriver. And I could never understand the sonic screwdriver except when it was like John Pertwee with the Sea Devils using his sonic screwdriver to go pew, 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 to actually set off the mines and stuff like that. could understand that aspect of it. But it's when ones would go, yes, it says this and does that, and you're sitting there thinking, how the hell does a sonic screwdriver actually read a computer and tell you what the computer says? Wouldn't you be better looking at the screen?
Yeah.
No, they made it into a magic MacGuffin that if they need a plot device to do the thing, they break out the sonic screwdriver.
Yeah. I never liked the sonic screwdriver. That's why Sylvester McCoy actually didn't like the sonic screwdriver. He wanted to get away from the MacGuffin.
Well, I mean, it occurs to me, in fact, that in some ways, okay.
I'm sorry, guys, but you're disrespecting the MacGuffin that David Warner is holding here. Yes, it was a MacGuffin, but was it not a cool plot device?
Oh, it depends. I mean, it gets that bit that John Hurt says to
oh yeah, with both of them. What are you doing?
It's a serious scientific instrument, not a toy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it occurs to me actually in some way. It became the Doctor's version of Green Lantern's ring. It could do anything.
It did a bit. It was the overpowered stuff.
This is wood, which doesn't actually make sense either. But yeah, I mean, they got to a point where it was. And then actually went back to probably the only other actual use it could be, which was a vibrator.
Yeah,
that's probably the only other effective use for Sonic.
I'm actually trying to think. Darren in the chat basically said Fury from the Deep was the first story to feature the Sonic. I don't think so.
You may
I thought it was later than that. I didn't realise it was that early on. I thought it was that last season. So it was the season before. That's a surprise. I thought it was the final season of Patrick Troughton. It came on, so I thought it was maybe something like the Seeds of Death or just before that. Didn't realise it was that early. The Fury from the Deep.
Oh, I remember the Fury from the Deep. I have extremely vague memories because I was obviously very young at the time, and this is going to be really embarrassing. Of connecting the Fury from the Deep and doing washing up with very, very soapy water, lots of suds in the water.
Oh, that was the one with Jamie and Joe.
It looked like the stuff that came up from the deep.
That was Jamie and Zoe. Actually, I remember that one.
This was a very long time ago in my defence, and I'm getting very old. But I just remember it as a kid that doing that, and then hopping the soapy water because, of course, obviously the soapy sudsy thing. I haven't seen Fury from the Deep in a very long time. And unfortunately, I think most of the copy. I don't know how much of it actually still remains. Because
yeah, it's been a while since I've watched that one, but I honestly thought it was this final season. I thought it was. I knew it was the war games. I thought it was one or two before the war games. I didn't realise it was the season before. Just goes to show.
Yeah, 1968.
Yeah. It's not that I actually keep these tracked, but unfortunately, Roman might not have seen this. I'm sure you guys have seen this before. This is just
it's part of what I did for the Behind the Grounds.
Yeah, that's
not Behind the Grounds, behind the scenes effect, where I quizzed you on certain comic shows. What year did it came out? And you guys were literally like miles off, despite you growing up with them, like Danger Mouse, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and my favorite when it comes to cartoon is Denver, the Last Dinosaur.
Yeah,
never heard of it.
Never heard of it. It's still amazing.
This is my database of all my Doctor Who DVDs. The red are not being remade at the moment. Yellow have been remade, and I'm still in the process of getting. And the green is the ones I've got. So as you can see, there's certain ones I've already got. So I like to catalogue things. Surprisingly.
No, that's good.
So basically, when I'm referring back to it, but there's the Fury from the Deep there. this one here, the season before. I honestly thought it was one of these ones here. But now I know. It was a year earlier than I thought. So there you go. Thank you, Darren. Actually corrected that one. Just goes to show. It's been that long.
The chat
War
always
Games is my
knows.
favourite. War Games is my favourite classic episode.
Would you like to play a game?
Wrong War And War Games with the cat from Red Dwarf. The cat priest from Red Dwarf in it.
Yeah, I know there are so many different ones that are literally playing in just the same name and they're trying to play close to it, but the original War Games is just so amazing.
Sorry, the original War Games was Patrick Troughton's final story.
Yep.
The War Game. So that's the original War Games. The War Games movie is the original movie. It's not the original War Games.
Yeah, they're all this stuff.
One word actually, so they're probably. I think one's War Games and one's War Games.
Yeah, one's War Games and the other one's War Games. It's semantics, I suppose. It's just the two of them sound the same.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's just how the show
the
devolves
ones
right
I've
there.
seen, and yet again, we come from an amazingly creative era where they could make something come to you rather than you having to go to cinema. And it's like,
but the thing is, there was so many movies and stuff out there. Remember the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers? The movie was actually going to be called The Body Snatchers, and they says they can't because there was already a movie out about 4 years before called The Body Snatchers.
Possibly about Burke and Hare.
It was called The Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
No, I was going to say, was Body Snatchers set in your neck of the woods? Burke and Hare.
Burke and Hare, no, but I've got a Burke and Hare. I've got a Burke and Hare movie. It had Bill Bailey.
I just wondered if
stuff like that.
I'm sure it was because they were called the Body Snatchers, weren't they?
Yeah, they were called the Body Snatchers. Burke and Hare. Yep. That's Edinburgh. That's the other side of the.
Well, it's not for Hadrian's Wall, so.
Aye, listen, that's the other side of the country. That's a whole hour away.
By the way,
would like that one.
By the way, there's a Doctor Who audio called Medicinal Purposes. That's got Burke and Hare in it. It's which the Doctor meets them and it's kind of dodgy because the Doctor actually says to them, "I must congratulate you. Your murders helped medical science a lot." You know.
There is a one out. It's a comedy about Burke and Hare. A comedy, believe it or not, and it's got Bill Bailey in it as well.
Wow, good grief!
It's not the one with Johnny Lee Miller and I keep forgetting what his name is.
It could be. It sounds right. I need to actually fire up my database because I can't remember exactly what show it's on.
Yeah, because there was Johnny Lee Miller and I keep forgetting what his name is. He very much looks like a rat, but he's been okay. I might misremembering, but I think he was in Trainspotting. He was in the Full Monty. Yeah, I think that's his name.
I'll get Universe as well.
Yes, Star Universe. Such an amazing actor. I would just have to say that for him.
But then again, let's be honest. I mean, there is one slight problem with Time After Time. We know what happened, Jack the Ripper.
Yeah,
he was eaten by Madame Vastra. I mean, Doctor Who fans know what happened.
If you watch the Round the World in 80 Days with Steve Coogan and Jackie Chan. He tries to actually kidnap one of the girls and she boots him into the river.
But it is still so amazing how many of these really amazing films play off these very horrific, shall we say, historical stuff that happened. And it's like Jack the Ripper is nothing to like lightly just discard to the corner.
Yeah, but there you go. Look, Birkin here, Simon Pegg, Andy Serkis, Tom Wilkinson, and Isla Fisher. And that is actually quite funny. Bill Bailey's in that as well. It is actually quite entertaining. Obviously, it takes a hell of a lot of liberties. So it does a hell of a lot of liberties with the actual true behind it. But it starts off as if it's going to be true because it starts off in the museum in the present day and there's Burke's skeleton. And then it goes back and then it tells a completely fabricated story. But it's interesting. It's fun, interesting. They take the bare essentials of the truth and then just build a comical story around it.
No, I think that my takeaway from this great lineup of movies and shows that we've discussed today is that I need to go back and watch time after time again.
I think so too. I quite agree with that.
It's like now at the top of my list for things I'm probably going to do later this evening.
I think that's going to be added to my Thursday because Friday maybe. Saturday,
I'd be tempted to say you need to watch time after time more than once. In fact, you need to watch time after time repeatedly.
After time, after time, after time, after
Yep.
time, after time.
I mean, it's been, I can't even tell you the last time that I've seen it. Certainly, it's been, I would say, easily 20 years. It's probably been more than that.
I think I'm roughly about the same. It's only when you mentioned it, it just went pop into my head and knew exactly what one you were talking about because it's been so long. But it was memorable that I even remember the part he was talking about how he's a man out of time. This is his time.
And that was a great monologue. I mean, which again, David Warner. Hey, I'm gonna bug out here in 3 minutes, fellas.
Yeah, we'll be shutting down shortly.
We're going
Okay.
I need to be going as well shortly.
Yeah.
Work in the morning, and I've got a movie to watch after this.
Yeah.
And remember, it's 10 o'clock over here. It's a wee bit earlier over
I
there.
know.
It's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon over there.
Yeah, I have a lunch engagement with a former Navy colleague today. So,
And Navy can't be late. Yep.
Okay, shall we wrap it up then, gentlemen?
Yes, I think we're probably best.
Okay, so who wants to go first for their promotion of their channels and what they got planned this
Well,
week?
mine's is dead easy. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. UK time or 12 p.m. Pacific time, we are doing Let's Talk Geeky, and you'll probably see us all back here again. And we're talking Galaxy Quest. Yes.
by Grabthar's hammer.
You shall be avenged.
I was tempted to put that one on, but I decided never give up, never surrender.
Okay, that makes my decision easier. I can put a link.
Ronan, would you like to promote yourself?
Oh, I wandered off briefly in my brain. So, so I expect I'll be here with you gentlemen tomorrow. And then on Thursday, I have my normal 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Good Lord, I've misplaced it in my brain. 5 o'clock?
It's
4
5.
o'clock.
If it's 5 p.m. there, it's 1 a.m. in the morning here, so it has to be an odd number.
I think
So
it's
it
my
has to be
5 o'clock
5.
show. Yeah, I can't.
It's usually
Jeez.
it's 1 a.m. here, so it has to be an odd number.
Okay. So, and this week we're going to be, my partner, John, and I are going to be talking about bulletproof movies. And what those are movies that they either would not or should not remake in modern times. And, which is quite a few movies, but the list is pretty cool. So we'll go down that and we'll say a prayer to the movie gods that they don't remake these films. But again, it's been great to be with you guys today, talking about the great David Warner and his many, many works.
Yep.
I think that should be quite a short speed. Make anything under current conditions ever again.
Yeah, definitely. We've been doing that in the last wee while. So we have. Sadako, if you want to actually.
No, got nothing coming up. I have my small channel, Sadako24. It's just just have a few music videos there, some Doctor Who music videos I've put together. Just a little hobby of mine. That's all I have really. My Twitter's well protected.
Well, all your channels and links have been added to the description. And I would like to wrap this show up by saying that we'll be back probably the end of next month to discuss for all humankind, all 3 series. And after that, into September, it could be another Unplugged, or it could be whatever we come up with. But thank you everyone for attending the stream, including our guests. Thank you for being on. Colin, shall we wrap it up as usual?
Oh, it's going to be a long one. Go on then.
Oh yeah. Okay, it's good night from me.
It's good night from him. Whoever wants to go next.
And it's good night from us. That's a Ronnie's thing, Roman. That's a Ronnie's thing. Another UK comedy gold. It's good night from him. It's good night from me. That's basically. You need to see the 2 Ronnies.
Fair enough.
Okay, well, anyway, everyone take care and see you next month.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Well,